New number one on Matt Snyder's MLB Power Rankings. Phillies are back atop the board. Yankees dropping a couple of spots down to 3 this week. Astros and Rangers are the biggest risers, up 8 spots to 12 for Houston, 16 for Texas. And the Blue Jays' biggest fallers sliding 12 slots to 24. Hey there, folks. I'm Tommy Tran. Let's welcome in our Matt Snyder, who puts together those power rankings, and insider Jim Bowden with any team news, agreements, disagreements. It's our Monday weekly slot here on HQ. Matt, let's take us through, or you should take us through this Phillies reclaiming the top spot here. You were pretty bullish on them preseason getting to the World Series here. Take me through the thought process.
Well, yeah, I knew I had to drop the Yankees. They've lost 6 out of 8. They lost their last 2 series. And the Orioles had this spot on lockdown before the last series, but then they went into Houston and got their teeth kicked in all 3 games. I considered the Guardians. I considered the Orioles. I considered the Dodgers. I knew I had to drop the Yankees, as I said. I think there's a clear-cut top 5 and then a clear-cut number 6 in the Braves, who are separated themselves from 7 and below. But the Phillies have the best record. They have the best run differential. They had a little bit of a slight rough patch, and then they won both series this past week. Their personnel lines up here. I mean, they have the best rotation in baseball. They have a very good offense. They have weathered the storm on injuries to Trey Turner and now JT Realmuto. Their bullpen is in good shape. So I think the Phillies are the most well-rounded team right now. Like I said, I was ready to put the Orioles there, and then they were terrible in Houston. So it's close among these top 5, but I feel good about having the Phillies there.
And the Phillies aren't just winning on the field. They're winning in the front office too, Tommy. And in fact, over the weekend, they made the announcement on Saturday that they had extended the contract of starting pitcher Christopher Sanchez on a 4-year, $22.5 million deal with 2 club option years for 2029 and 30. I talked to general manager Sam Fuld yesterday. I asked him if this was a contract that they had worked on in the offseason and just took a long time to get done. He said, no, not the case. Sanchez's agent called and said, look, we want to sign long-term. The Phillies put some lowball numbers out there, and they quickly were able to come to a deal. So Dave Dombrowski, the president, closing this deal with Sanchez's representatives, which really it looks like a club-friendly deal for them. And, oh, by the way, he came out there right after the contract and through shutout baseball, thanking the Phillies for that contract. And, by the way, this is a team to watch at the trade deadline. They're not going to rest on their laurels. I agree right now. They're the best team in baseball. But they have talked to the White Sox about center fielder Lewis Robert. They've talked to the Marlins about their center fielder Jazz Chisholm. There is no doubt they want to upgrade with a better all-around center fielder than what they're running out there right now. So they're definitely going to be a team to watch, Tommy, at the trade deadline.
They want to get back to the Fall Classic and want to win it this time. By the way, I'm glad we're at a point in time we're having a graphic with which team's been at the top of Matt Snyder's power rankings. So I saw there Phillies 4 times, Yankees 4 times, and the Orioles once. Still waiting for the Dodgers to get there, which we talked about. Still plenty of time. All right, let's get to the Astros and Rangers tied for the most steam with 8 spot moves apiece. Now, what we're going to do is kind of break things up a little bit. Jim, you're going to get Texas. You're going to follow Matt, though. Snyder, you get Houston up first.
Yeah, well, okay, so first of all, 12 into like the 20s are so bunched up. There's like 3 games between all of them, so I have a ton of movement every week. It's actually really, really hard, way too hard right now to slot them. But I love the Astros' talent offensively. They're starting to go a little bit right now, and they're doing it without Kyle Tucker. Very impressive in the Orioles series. This is the first time that they've been 2 games within 500 since they started 0-2. So yeah, I think they're really starting to go here. There are definitely still concerns in the rotation. For example, they had to promote Jake Bloss, I think, a lot faster than they would have liked, and then he got hurt. So it just feels like the injury bug is just totally attacking their rotation. I believe the Rangers are set up for a big second half. I think the AL West is going to get a lot more exciting than it has been to this point. Last week we talked about how the Mariners had the biggest lead out of any division in baseball. It's going to tighten up with all 3 teams being right in the race there.
And the Texas Rangers got Max Scherzer back on Sunday, and boy, did he pay dividends right out of the get-go. He retired 13 of the 15 batters that he faced. He went 5 innings of one-hit ball, struck out 4 guys, only threw 57 pitches, so he was really efficient. His fastball was 92. He topped out at 94, so it's down a tick from what we're used to, but the slider, cutter, change, and curve were all effective. Catcher Salvador Perez said after the game, what really separated him in this game is he didn't miss over the plate at all. The command of all his pitches were right on. Now, we'll see how he feels today. Obviously, with this radial nerve, he's never been through this before, so we'll have to keep monitoring him, but certainly that first start was impressive. And for the Rangers, when you watch what they've done over the last 12 games, rookie Wyatt Langford finally living up to what we told everybody back in March here on CBS when I predicted he would win Rookie of the Year, batting .326 over the last 12 games, 4 doubles, 2 homers, 14 RBIs, and oh, by the way, has stolen 5 bases in 5 attempts. And let's not forget about Josh Smith. He has been their X factor all year long over the last 12 games. He's hitting .423 with 3 homers and 7 RBIs. He's been locked in. And guess what? Over the next couple of months, they're still going to get starting pitchers Jacob deGrom, Tyler Mahle, and Cody Bradford back. So don't sleep on these Texas Rangers. They are definitely going to give both Seattle and Houston a run for their money before this season's over.
Reinforcements on the way. It'll be interesting to see what Jim's reporting is with our next team with Mike Rizzo and the Nats. Matt, I'll start with you, though, once again. Here we go. Washington up to 18. They're in that NL wild card hunt after winning 11 out of 15. It's interesting because I think going into the season, some people thought they maybe be a punching bag like the likes of the White Sox and the Rockies, and yet they're the ones punching. At the very least, they're feisty and they're competitive.
Yeah, I think almost everybody had them finishing last place in the National League East. Right here in the middle of the mix, they've won 11 out of 15. C.J. Abrams is having a great season, all-star caliber season. Jesse Winker with the resurgence after a terrible last couple of years. Jake Irvin, Mackenzie Gore, Mitchell Parker in the rotation, very, very good. And this, I think, is important moving forward. If the Nationals can hang in the race, there are some front offices who are, we'll call them more new school, where they will look at the playoff projections and projected win totals and say, we only have about a 3% chance to make the playoffs, so we're not going to ruin our long-term plan here. We're going to kind of be a little conservative here. I don't think Mike Rizzo is one of those guys. I think he will be the type that says, if we're in the race, I'm going to try to get there, because you never know what can happen in the postseason, as the Nationals proved in 2019. Now, obviously, they don't have the caliber team that they had in 2019, but if they're in the race, he is absolutely going to try to push his chips to the center. That's my prediction, at least. I'll see what Jim has to say about that.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Mike Rizzo is going to go for it, and he feels like he's got a chance to get in. He's going to try to get in. Look, it's a mediocre league, right? So we've got 4 really good teams that we know are getting in, and then it's up for grabs with the other 10 teams. You mentioned their starting pitching. That's been the difference. That's why they are where they are, right? Jake Irvin, Mackenzie Gore, Mitchell Parker, DJ Hurst, Patrick Corbin, all 5 of them over their last 2 starts. ERAs 3.8 or lower. So they're not giving up any runs, and they score enough. And Lane Thomas, since coming off the IL, has been red hot. In fact, over the last 12 games, we've seen 4 homers and 15 RBIs from Lane Thomas. But the guy to watch is in the minor leagues, and if you play fantasy, go get James Wood right now. He came off of the injured list last Tuesday from the hamstring injury. He's healthy, and oh, by the way, he's only batting .348, 13 doubles, 10 homers, 33 RBIs, and they're stolen 10 bases and 11 attempts. That's probably going to be the best move that they make at the deadline, because this is an impact player. But Mike Rizzo has made it very clear to other GMs throughout the industry that he is looking for 2 impact middle-of-the-order bats. I think he gets Wood from the farm system and tries to trade for 1 more. Don't be surprised if he lands Brent Rooker from the Oakland Athletics.
And then lastly, let's get to the Blue Jays, which I would actually throw in with the Astros and Rangers in terms of like yo-yo teams for our conversation. High variance, they're up, they're down. Matt, how did we get to Toronto, which last week was knocking on the top 10 door, and now they're in the basement?
Yeah, again, it's because they're all bunched up so close. I know, I mean, I kind of feel stupid when I drop a team 12 spots in 1 week, but, you know, the Blue Jays should feel stupid as well, because they continue to disappoint. I feel like they've been disappointing us for years. Look, there's 7 games under 500 now, the low water mark of the year, in a tough division. The Red Sox look like they're really good. The Rays are playing better right now. So this looks like they might be ticketed for last place. And when you're looking at that spot, the offense is terrible right now. Is the foundation of the team a little stale right now? Maybe. I know that Ross Atkins has said that they don't plan to sell at least Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr. And in fact, they would like to extend them. But I wonder if they continue on this path, if the plans change a little bit, they could sure use a shakeup. They just feel like a stale team.
This is a bad team. That's what it is. They're 27th in runs. They're 27th in home runs. They're 21st in OPS. And, oh, by the way, their pitchers are 22nd out of the 30 teams in team ERA. They definitely should be sellers. Why they're not, I don't know. But I do think they may make some dramatic changes. Now, Ross Atkins has made it clear that John Schneider, the manager, is safe. He's made it clear that he's not even going to consider trading Bo Bichette or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But that being said, I can't imagine a scenario where they're buyers at the deadline. I think they're going to be sellers, and they will have guys like Chris Bassett and Jordan Romano, and they will have Kevin Kiermaier and maybe even George Springer. They will have pieces to trade, but one thing's for sure, they can't keep running the same team out there year after year after year and not win. And so is Ross Atkins' job in jeopardy? I don't know, but I know one thing. Toronto needs to make changes because it's not a good baseball team, and I see no pathway of them getting to the playoffs this year.
Great stuff as always. Our thanks to Jim Bowden and Matt Snyder. Check out Snyder's entire list on CBSSports.com. Let's take a look at that MLB slate. Some notable games here. I picked out Nola and Mize with the Phillies and Tigers. I'd mentioned a good game at least to maybe bet on. Paxton and Crochet. Mike McClure says take the Dodgers as short road favorites. And out in the city by the Bay, Cubs and Giants just off the board here. Justin Steele still seeking his first win of the season after going 16-5 last year.